You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. There we are. We're live. And I'm on my own. How did that happen? So, what am I going to talk about today? So, my guest hasn't turned up. My guest is in America, so probably didn't set the alarm to be ready first thing. So, today, what on earth are we going to talk about? So, if you've got any questions for me, then please put those into the chat box. But what I thought I'd talk about today is the marketing of our accountancy and bookkeeping practices, because we're all trying to grow our business. We're all trying to do a little bit more on our business and grow. So what do we need to be doing at a regular basis to do? Hello, Lisa Bailey Brown. How the devil are you? Do you fancy coming on and talking to my lovely accountants and bookkeepers? Because my guest hasn't turned up. So if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. And Pavol, you can join me as well and tell everybody all about your amazing software. So I'm quite happy to have new guests just dropping in. If you're keen, if you go into LinkedIn, and I will send you a link and you can come and join me. But what I wanted to talk about is marketing of our accountancy practices, because we go into accountancy and bookkeeping because we love numbers, we love helping people, we love making sure that the business owners that we work with are kept up to date, have good records. But what we don't is we don't go into setting up our own business because we love marketing. We love social media. We love going out and talking to people at networking events. So it's all those sorts of things that we should be thinking about when we're marketing our business. So if Aisling wants to come on and talk about brand photography, that would be absolutely superb, because people buy from people who they know, like, and trust. But how many people have got photos on their profile, on their website, that are out of date, not taken very well, poor lighting and things like that? And so if Aisling wants to come in and talk to me about photos, that's absolutely great. If Richard wants to come on and talk about videos, that is also great, because it's all about marketing. And what we've got to remember is we know exactly what we're doing in our business. We know exactly how we can help people. And we assume that everybody else knows exactly what we know, but we don't. And we've got to get that over. And that's why we use marketing. I'm a big exponent of content marketing with LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. And so I help people get over that. But if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper, all you know is numbers. And so therefore, we need to help educate people. So in your business, think about all the things that you've done to help people and what you've done with their businesses, because you've got a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of stories that you can share with other people, because your clients absolutely love you. Your clients love working with you, and they are busy running their business, and you're looking after what they do. I recently hired an accountant myself. So I'm working with the lovely Nadia, and she's just taken such a weight off my shoulders that I don't worry about all the nitty gritty of my bookkeeping and running my business. So it's that sort of thing that you need to be thinking about. And how can you put that over to let people know exactly what you do? I don't mind seeing somebody with a beard. No one's messaged me on LinkedIn to say that they want to come onto my show. So that's fine. But if you want to, you're absolutely fine. So we're talking about what we're doing with our business. So think about how people perceive you in your accountancy and bookkeeping business. Do they see you as a guru? Do they see you as a pain? Do they see you as someone who's got an awful load of knowledge that you can impart to them? So make sure that you start thinking about that. But the other thing you need to think about is the actual type of client that you want to work with. So start coming up with some ideas of the type of client you want to work with. Now, the best way to do that is look at the clients that you've already got, because if you start listing every single client, you'll start seeing a pattern. And it may not be a business that you're working with. It may not be a specific demographic of age. It might just be a locale. It could be anything. But if you start looking through, you will start seeing that, oh my goodness, this client does this as well, and that client does that. It might be owner-managed businesses. It might be family-run businesses. It could be farms. There's a million different types of businesses out there. So work out exactly who your ideal client is and start marketing to them. Because if I'm talking to a farmer, I'm going to use a totally different kind of language than if I'm talking to a social media influencer or a software manufacturer. And it's trying to work out exactly what message we need to be putting over. When you're thinking about your target market, start working out when they are going to be online, because farmers are going to be up early doing all the animals, so they probably won't get to look at social media or other things later on in the day. So it's starting to think about your ideal client and the marketing that you could be doing to them. When we've got our ideal client, think about where they are going to be hanging out. I don't know why I've picked on farmers today, but they're going to be going to agricultural shows. They're going to be going to agricultural exhibitions and things like that. They're also going to be at the farm shops and places like that. Now, we've got Molehaven down here in Devon. So maybe you could run adverts with them. They've probably got publications that go out on a regular basis. So you could start thinking about that. So where on earth are your clients going to be looking for their inspiration? Now, it's dead easy for me to talk about what I do because I work with accountants and bookkeepers. So if you start thinking about my business and where I am, you'll start getting an idea. So I'm talking at a conference later on this month for the AAT. Now, that is absolutely perfect for me because in that room, there's going to be 100% accountants and bookkeepers. I'm going up to Accountex in a couple of weeks' time. It's going to be a load of accountants and bookkeepers there. But also, while I'm there, there's going to be an awful lot of people that are associated with that industry. So we've got software vendors, we've got service providers, we've got outsourcers, we've got marketers, but they're all working within that industry. So when you start looking for the type of people that are in your industry, you'll start getting them. And you know the best place to market if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper? Start talking to the recruiters and the HR companies, because these people are actually working with small business owners. And the small business owners are the people that you want to be working with. If you are working with a close relationship with these people, so again, solicitors are also a great one. If you've got a close working relationship with them, then you can refer business back and forth, and it's the referrals that also help. And so you can start referring business either way. I wish I had a guest. It's so much easier when you've got a guest, and all of this is being done on the hoof. And so nobody in the group today wants to jump on, and you're just watching me squirm, aren't you? And thinking what I'm going to come up with next. The other thing that you ought to be thinking of is social media. Okay. And again, think about the type of clients that are using different social media. So the main ones that people are using at the moment from when I'm talking to people is Instagram and Facebook. But are your clients really there? I see a lot of accountants are starting to do a bit more on TikTok. Are your clients going to be there? And obviously, I see loads and loads of accountants doing great things on LinkedIn. Are your clients going to be there? So once you know your target audience, you'll get an idea of where they're going to be. And I know there's an awful lot more social media platforms. We've got Twitter, this is now called X, and there's Pinterest and Snapchat and goodness knows what else. But you've got to go with something that you're absolutely comfortable with. If you've never used one of these platforms before, you're going to have a steeper learning curve than just brushing up your skills on the one that you want to work on. So follow other people that are doing great things. There's nothing wrong with connecting with other accountants and bookkeepers on your favorite platform. Richard's going to jump on and start talking about video, and Pavel's going to come in 5 minutes. So that's great. So I'll send you guys both a link. So what we do is we get them on, and we'll talk about some of the things that they can help with marketing, because we're talking about marketing today. And Pavol is a great example, because Pavol is trying to market his business, so we can find out a little bit more about that as well. So let me just drop the link in for Richard, and there we go. There's the link, so you can join me, Richard, and Pavol is also going to jump in as well. So that'll be fun. So where was I? I was talking about your favorite platform and making sure that you're set up properly. So follow other and connect with other accountants and bookkeepers, because you'll learn an awful lot from them. And what I'm finding with the work that I'm doing with accountants and bookkeepers is they are all absolutely lovely and collaborative. They all work with each other. They all help each other. They all belong to different networks, and everyone's trying to help each other to do more. To get more business. Because if you think about it, there's hundreds of businesses in every small town that you go to around the UK and globally. There's not enough accountants and bookkeepers to go around, not the brilliant ones. So there's plenty of work out there, and all you need to do is just let people know exactly what you do and start collaborating. Oh, that's a great question, Sheila. So Sheila's just come up with a question. Thank you, Sheila. That's for saving my life. So I just love LinkedIn. It's a great question. Can we interview instead? You're the LinkedIn guy, but what's your favorite platform out of work time? When you work on your own, Sheila, I don't differentiate work time and play time, because to me, I'm always working or always playing. I love what I do, so I don't consider it work. And then when I'm out, I'm thinking about other content. But I don't tend to go on to social media for fun. It's more with a purpose. But one thing I do, here's my guilty pleasure, is watching car fails on YouTube. So if you go into YouTube and just do car fails, you see all these dash cam footage of people and there's some really amazing things. So I do like looking at YouTube, and I also watch YouTube for the music. I've got Beardy Rich just running around in the background. So I don't know if I can bring him in yet. Here he is. Hello, hey. Beardy Rich. How are you?
A little bit unkempt. If I'm not in the office for a few days, I tend not to scrape my face in the morning with a sharp piece of metal. So,
but we can't see.
As impressive as yours, but it's a bit unkempt.
It's absolutely fine. We can't see. And thank you for popping in. So I'm talking about marketing today. And you do a little bit of video. So first off, tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do, please, Richard.
Right, so I am Richard Uruge. My background is journalism. I've been a journalist for 40 plus years, which sounds suspiciously like a life sentence when you say it out loud, with no time off for good behavior, not that there's been any. And for the last 25 or plus years, I've also been helping people become better presenters, better interviewees, better public speakers, and for the last 3 or 4 years, since coming on one of your courses, actually, I've been using LinkedIn to reach out for new clients and to keep existing clients amused, entertained, and engaged.
Absolutely fantastic. So have you worked with any accountants or bookkeepers in your time, Richard?
Well, I've worked with my own accountant and I don't know what he makes of my business. If making vast sums of money is the objective, certainly I've failed epically in that respect. But for me, business is more than just making lots and lots of money. Clearly, one needs to pay the mortgage and the bills and so on. And I've managed that over 25, 30 years in various different businesses, and ACM training washes its face, I think is how some people describe it. But have I worked with accountants? No, I haven't actually terribly much. They're quite a shy and shrinking lot in my experience. So none have reached out to me and said, I want presentation skills, because they're going to stand up in front of 1,000 clients at some kind of accounting conference. Perhaps there's time for that.
There definitely is. There definitely is. And so one of the things I talk to accountants and bookkeepers a lot is doing video, because as we know, obviously you know this, I don't need to tell you, but as we know, people watching video get an awful lot more from the person than reading something or seeing a photo. So what are your top tips for getting started doing video?
Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good.
We
all, of course, want to make ourselves look fantastic, says he who hasn't shaved and looks like he's had 2 or 3 days off, which is true. And we want to, as a consequence, present ourselves literally in the best possible light, which means, getting a nice camera and perhaps some lights and some microphones and a green screen. You can spend thousands of pounds on all of the kit, but you don't need to. This smartphone, it's got a fantastically high quality camera in it, video camera in it, and you just need to point it at yourself and to talk naturally. Be yourself, I guess, is the second piece of advice. So piece of advice number 1, if you've got a smartphone, you've got more than enough kit to get going, and don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. And rule number 2, be yourself. Everybody's got something to say. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do and what you might offer to your clients. And in seeing you being yourself, then they can make a judgment about whether they want to do business with you or the tens of thousands of other people who are competing for your business or for a bit of business in your field.
Yeah, no, absolutely great advice there. Just having a think there. So you said you've been in journalism and broadcasting for 40 years. So when were you first in front of a camera? How many years ago would that be?
Gosh, well, if we include being in front of my dad's cine camera.
No. I'm thinking more TV.
Okay, TV. 1980 something, probably.
So 40 years ago.
Mid to late 80s, yeah.
So that camera that they were using 40 years ago, is that better or worse than the camera in my iPhone today?
Worse.
And
a downside more expensive as well. I mean, these were big old cameras, studio cameras.
Had a person sat on them with arms and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah. And of course, technology has improved, and absolutely the multiple cameras, because there are 2 or 3 or 4 cameras in a smartphone. Yeah. The multiple cameras in your smartphone, each of those is both optically and electronically 100 times, I've made that up, but a lot of times better than the cameras we worked with back in the day. If I look at some of the recordings of myself from the mid to late 80s, apart from the fact that I had a head full of lush black hair and looked 40 years younger, because I was 40 years younger, everything looks slightly fuzzy and out of focus. And that's because the quality of the optics and the electronics in those cameras was pretty poor.
Okay, so we've dispelled.
Great either. Sorry,
we've dispelled the myth then that we need a decent camera, so that's perfect. We've also discussed that you just need to be authentically yourself, so that's fine.
Although that second point is easier said than done. I've worked with people in the TV business who put on a voice and adopt a persona when they're in front of the camera, and I think, well, that's a bit odd, because they're not kind of like that down the pub or at a party, or if I bump into them in a coffee shop. So they put on a really top posh voice, as if that's how they need to sound when they're on the BBC or ITV or Sky News. And then you meet them down a pub and they're, cool, blimey, Gov, how you going? Geese are all right. And you just think, well, that's strange. You're 2 different people. And that kind of schism, that kind of, what's the right word? That schizophrenia is kind of slightly odd and disturbing. So being yourself isn't as easy as you think. People think they have to perform. They don't. They just have to be themselves.
Okay, well, we've got someone who's definitely themselves. I'm going to bring him in now. I got Pavol waiting in the wing. So thanks for jumping in, Pavol. We'll have all three of us. So say hi to each other. Hello, Pavol. How are you?
Oh, hello.
Hi, Pavol. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah.
So
we're the understudies, Pavol. Do you realise that we're not even the main act. The main act didn't turn up, so we're just kind of like walking in from the wings, helping Ashley out here.
But you both have been on my shows.
Makes it a good exercise for us to be kind of ourselves, because we are not prepared.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so Pavol, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Pavol. I'm a programmer since, say, early 90s. So it has been quite a while. And I got involved with the accountancy domain since about 2010, 11. So, and then after sort of leaving the corporate world and NASDAQ traded companies, I got this idea to basically become a shareware programmer, which is essentially try the software before you buy. So, and I was looking for something which I know and can do with a small team, and I basically developed software for generating management accounts from Sage 50, which is called Proud Numbers, which I mainly market on LinkedIn, and also with Ashley's help as a coach.
Bless you. So we're talking about marketing today, Pavol. What challenges are you having with your marketing?
Yeah, I think the main challenge for techies is to understand the role of marketing. And basically, for me, it is still a challenge because I'm so like analytical that kind of message concept is just something which I probably will kind of understand, but never understand. But I have an example which is, absolutely striking for almost any techie. So if you have this aerial, yeah, and that aerial has nothing on its end, nothing is going to happen. So
Correct.
Then the next step is, to put some power on that aerial. So you kind of need to put a signal in. So there is something to put the aerial, to get the power. Yeah. So, and that is still not enough. That will just not do the job. But then you need to start to transmit the message. So I would say that kind of notion, that sort of highly technical, analytical notion kind of made it for me in the end with Ashley's help. But then also comes the accountancy perspective, because then you start to see this, say, account called marketing and communications, however you call it, basically. And you see that, well, this is actually something which is part of that whole story, And unless you have that and you kind of don't absorb it, it just doesn't work. That's as simple as that. But as I said, I will repeat where I started. For technology people and programmers, this is extremely difficult concept, which is basically given by the way how we think.
Yeah, and I guess that's the same for accountants and bookkeepers as well, because it's a technical thing that you're doing on a regular basis, and it's outside of our comfort zone. And when something's outside of our comfort zone, it becomes a little bit difficult. Richard, so you're doing video and all that sort of stuff, but you've got to market your business. So what struggles are you having with marketing?
The constant struggle to find enough hours in the day, I would say. I'm one of those people with a head full of ideas, and probably 95% of those ideas fail to get out of here and out of my fingers and onto video, to be edited, to be put onto LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever else I might place them. So it's not that I'm short of ideas, it's that I'm short of the time to turn those ideas into something that other people can watch, because it is time consuming. Let's be honest. You've got to have the idea in the first place, and work that idea up so that it has the impact that you want. It has to be a blend of information and education and entertainment, I would submit, these days, because people are giving their time to you, in effect, to watch your video. And if it doesn't do one of those three things, and probably two or three of those three things, well, they're going to swipe on by. And if they carry on swiping on by, the algorithms won't present your content to them very much in future. So it's really hard to build an audience without those components, without that entertainment element. So you've got to have the idea, you've got to craft the idea, you've then got to sort of turn it into reality, point your smartphone at yourself and talk a bit, maybe do some basic editing, maybe put some graphics on there. And of course, in small businesses, and I've only really ever been in small businesses with half a dozen employees at the moment. There's just a couple of us. And frankly, that's the way I like it. But you've got to do the business, the stuff that you can invoice people for. And this stuff, you're not getting paid for directly. So you've got to justify its existence in your weekly schedule. And if you're not getting some business from it, ultimately, I guess it doesn't justify its existence. It's as hard-nosed as that, frankly, isn't it? So time, to put it bluntly, time, never enough.
Yeah, I think we all struggle with that. Would you agree, Pavol?
Absolutely. I think I wouldn't be able to word it better, because it really reflects my inner feelings. Because definitely, like, to make even a quality post or an article on LinkedIn, it just, you really need to research the subject very thoroughly. It reminds me my experience from teaching other people programming. You just have to go over the material yourself at least 2-3 times and be absolutely sure that you understand each and every corner. And what I'm always saying is, certain things you learn only when you teach them. And I think similarities in some aspect, maybe not so deep, but certainly like deep enough. Yeah, it's kind of that you are not drowning, but you are standing in the water till you're, up to here. And it is same with the marketing, because really to make that succinct presentation, you need some hours to research the subject. And basically to add that element, what Richard said, that be a little bit not dry, make it a little bit easier. I think it is just a skill on its own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're looking at time, guys. And when I'm talking to accountants and bookkeepers, they are very, very busy people, especially tax return season. You do not speak to an accountant or bookkeeper between the beginning of December and the end of January. And so the last thing they're thinking about is marketing. And so what we need to do, Beardy Rich, is put time in the diary and don't think that it's wasted, because what actually happens is people are seeing your content, they're seeing your videos, and you're not getting, it's not like here's a video and then people buy. It's a constant drip of marketing. So what we need to be doing is sort of like thinking, right, 15 minutes on LinkedIn today isn't going to get me some business today, but it will get me business one day. And I think if we can start seeing that as that's how we do marketing, it's a little bit and often. When you watch the football on the TV, Carlsberg, McDonald's, Ford are always advertising. We know these brands, we know them inside and out, but they're still putting their message across and still reminding us that they're there. And that's the thing. It's just a little bit every day. So 15 minutes a day. Could you do 15 minutes a day, guys?
Yeah. I'm the world's worst manager of time, I think. Certainly my colleagues would say that. I get very excited by an idea and I'm distracted by that idea, and I run with that idea until I either see it through to fruition or it drops by the wayside for whatever reason. And I ought to be paying attention to the things in the urgent and important quadrant of my urgent important matrix. So I do know the theory, but I'm not terribly good at the practice. And I guess just to follow up on your point, Ashley, what I've realized after many years in different businesses. I ran a television production company for a number of years. Is that the time you should be doing your marketing is when you are at your busiest, because when you're busy, you don't do it, and then you have a really hungry period. And my accountant, I think, said your cash flow is like a sawtooth. And I said, oh, don't talk to me about saw teeth. And he said, no, not those kinds of teeth, the teeth on a saw. You know, you're busy, and then you're doing the business, and then it drops off a cliff, and then you're struggling to pay the wage bill, and then you're busy again because you do some marketing. I could smooth that out at a higher level rather than have that sort of dropping off a cliff periodically. I'd have been literally much better off. And it was because we didn't attend to marketing when we were at our busiest. We left it for quieter moments, and it doesn't work quickly as you suggest.
No, it's a constant thing. 15 minutes a day is 65 hours a year. And that's what we've got to remember. Guys, we're at 1 o'clock. Thank you for rescuing me. Thank you very much for coming in. I'll let you each have a little word so that everybody knows who you are and what you do, so if they can get in contact with you. Beardy Rich, I'll let you go first.
I'm the man with a lovely view from his office window and with multiple cameras. So we have what we hope is the world's coolest online studio for training people how to present online, but also face-to-face. And it's great fun pushing buttons. I've even got overhead cam. There we are. Overhead
Fantastic.
Cam. And probably there's a computer there with some passwords on it. So I better shut the lid instantly. But we run online training and face-to-face training. My name's Richard Uruge, Beardy Rich, until I have a shave when I get back to face-to-face work. And we do online courses at ACM Training as well.
Fantastic. And you're going to put the links in here, and this is a podcast, so all the links will be on there as well. Pavol, final words to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for the all good advice about marketing. From our end, how we can help, basically, we are the authors of this software called Proud Numbers. So basically what we do is a management accounts for Sage Line 50. So, and you can just download it from our website or contact me on LinkedIn, and I will be more than pleased to give you a whistle-stop tour.
Fantastic.
The download is free, and the trial is fully functional for 30 days.
There you go. Perfect. That's absolutely wonderful. Guys, thank you so much indeed. Don't go anywhere because I'll have a quick chat afterwards. But thank you to everybody for staying on and watching me squirm. So thank you very much for your help today. All the best. You take care. Oh, hang on. Before we go, I need to say who's coming on next week. Fingers crossed he does turn up. Lawrence Whittam is going to come and talk to us about building our outsourcing team effectively. Right. See you next time. Cheerio. You get out what you put in.